I was inspired by Beyonce's song. It's also called Grown Woman. I left a link as a reference just for fun, but it has nothing to do with the song. It does have everything to do with a sense of freedom that you achieve by becoming a grown woman. And a grown woman has nothing to do with your age, but it has everything to do with your inner work and your self-awareness. One of the wisest grown women in history once said, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." And that was Eleanor Roosevelt. To those who don't know, following her husband's death in 1945, she served as the first chair of the United Nations Commission on Human Rights and oversaw drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. I'm going to quote two sentences that actually got me going with this idea of the grown woman. One is by Beyonce, the one that she says, "And they listen to me talk because I'm not pretending." So that was very powerful. That just basically talks why we must become or work on becoming a lot more authentic and not trying to pretend to be someone that we're not if we want to be heard. And then another one, and she can do whatever she likes. And that's the beauty about the freedom that you achieve by becoming a grown woman. A grown woman only does things that she likes. So to the people that knows me, knows how I am a huge advocate against gossip. I think my first video on YouTube was about the danger of gossiping. And grown women don't do that. Grown women don't talk about people because they understand the severity of that action. It can be entertaining when you are not a grown woman. For example, just for fun, my daughter is 15 and she loves to listen to other people's conversation. And she recently mentioned to me, she's like, "Mom, you are the most uninterested in other people's conversation. If I knew how to speak the language that the languages that you speak, I would be listening to everyone's conversation all the time." And I laughed at it because she's a teenager. She's not a grown woman. She still has a lot of time and she doesn't have any maliciousness, right? It's just plain curiosity. So it's totally fine if you are in that stage and if you're young and you're still exploring. But once you become a grown woman, you understand, and this is what I told her, was that I've trained myself, and I think most people that wants to preserve their energy, they train themselves to turn their listening skills on and off during the day. It cannot be on all the time because otherwise it's kind of like oversaturating your operating system, which is your brain, with all that information that will make you tired, that will drain your energy. So I talk about energy a lot, and once you become a grown woman, you have to be very discerning on what you want to put your energy in. And one of the places that it makes your energy rise is absorbing knowledge. This is why it's so important to cultivate this mindset of discussing ideas, because when you have a conversation with someone about a topic that has nothing to do with the person, you will see the vibration rising. You will feel more uplifted. The other person will feel uplifted because now you leave the conversation with knowledge, and we all know knowledge is power. So grown women have mastered that power. And another thing that grown women do, instead of stalking other women online and looking at what they are doing, wearing, whatever, who they are with, is taking that time back, investing in developing 3 super important things that will pay you. 1 is your emotional intelligence, 2 is your communication skills, and 3 is your humor. All these 3 aspects, call it soft skills, people skills, power skills. I think these are power skills. They should be named power skills, are utterly important in all your relationships, from your family members to your workplace to making friends or dating. Becoming a good conversationalist will make you build and maintain connections. Now, In order to do that, you have to learn how to communicate. You have to learn how to have emotional intelligence. You have to learn how to empathize and turn on your active listening skills. And you have to have a good sense of humor, not just to tell jokes, but also to be able to laugh at other people's attempt to be funny to you. So having that quick-witted, turned-on brain at all times, it's a skill that will actually bring you more joy in life. I think when we can be serious at achieving a project or finishing something at an appropriate deadline, but you can also maintain a light vibe. You can have fun and play while you work, is what grown women are known to be good at. But nobody becomes a grown woman in one day. Everyone understands that it takes effort, it takes work, and it takes intention to want to become a grown woman. A grown woman doesn't gossip, not only to preserve her energy and because they're not interested in what other people are doing and they are so focused inwardly and they like to stay within their lane. A grown woman also understands that when you talk about people, what you are doing is you are making other people around you not being able to trust you as much as they would trust someone who does not talk about people. Because when you become a grown adult, we all share ourselves or our life with people that will not share our lives and our secrets with someone else. And if you are someone who's always talking about other people, the person that's talking to you also understands that as soon as the conversation is done, you will talk about them to another person. And it may not have any malicious intent, but there are a lot of things that should not be shared by anyone but that person. These are little things that may sound super obvious to you, but that's how little gossip begins. It can make someone who is just learning to trust someone feel unsafe in that environment if there's too much talk about people and not that much about exchanging ideas. Lastly, I will wrap it up with the journey of authenticity and why it's so important for all of us to find out who we are and become more of that person instead of actually copying someone that we like and admire. And I totally understand that imitation is a form of, it's a compliment. It's not a bad thing. But the problem about imitating someone else or copying other people's ways is that you are not tapping into your own originality. And we are all meant to be original. We all have the capacity to be original. And when we copy someone else, what we are copying is not the true inspiration that the person is actually sending you by being themselves, which would be, okay, copy the inner work, right? Copy the fact that they exercise and then copy the fact that they are always learning new topics and they are focused more internally than outwardly, or they really don't care about outside validation. But instead, what people tend to do is they copy the surface, they copy the end result. You will never become like that person if you only copy the end result, only the surface. Oh, okay, I'm gonna talk like this person and then I am sure I will achieve what the person achieved. No, it doesn't work like that, because you are never meant to talk like that person that you admire or you hate. I don't know. Women are a little bit different with each other. That's another video for another day. But copy the fact that that person went through an inner journey to find her authentic self, and you do the same. And the first thing for that journey is looking inwardly, is staying in your lane, is not competing with other women. Whenever you try to compete or you're always checking what other women are doing, think of yourself as a runner in a marathon. And this is not just for women, because men should also understand this concept, because men can also feel jealous. It's not just women that feel jealous. Men do too, especially at workplaces. So it's really important that the limited mindset goes away the second you stop competing with anyone, because that competition is an illusion. And whenever you are running and you're in your lane, if you keep checking, okay, let me check where the other person is, let me check where that other person is, what you're doing is you're losing speed because you're not looking forward. This is why it's so important that you focus in you and in your future. A grown woman and a grown man and a grown anything ultimately has the sense of freedom that they don't need to compete. They don't need to keep up with the Kardashians. They're free. They're absolutely free. And that sense of freedom is priceless. So I hope this inspires, even if it's one person out there, to find your freedom. That's another way of becoming a grown woman. Thank you, Beyonce. Thank you, Eleanor Roosevelt. Let's continue discussing great ideas.